Have you ever wondered how you can unlock new opportunities and knowledge that can truly change your journey as an African immigrant? Then, you're in the right place. Welcome to the AIM Expert series, where we bring you insightful sessions, packed with practical strategies from top experts on topics that matter most to you. So, if you're looking to grow your career or understand the US system, then grab a chair and don't go anywhere. Now, let's get started on today's session.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. This is our first one this month, so happy new month as well. It is good to see everyone again. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for showing up to this first session in the month of September. Before we jump in, a quick announcement for everyone. So going forward, you might have seen the emails or seen the conversation, but our expert series is now called a masterclass series. All right, so Atty. Uzo, you get to be the first person to deliver the first session in our AIM masterclass series. So excited about that. We were rebranding this a little bit so that it's consistent with the value that we're giving and we're getting, and setting that standard. And then when you see any of our facilitators, don't just call them facilitator anymore. They are knowledge partners, AIM knowledge partners. So fancy titles, but it's important. They're important people. They do important things for us, and we love and appreciate them. So wanted to start with that announcement. So that's where we are going now. But I'm excited again, as always. If you have questions as the session continues, feel free to use the chat to put your questions, and our attorney will answer the questions towards the end. So make sure you wait till the end to get your questions answered, but let her do her presentation, and then, except she chooses to make it a conversation out then, then that's our prerogative. But also, as always, we do our disclaimer. Everything that you hear it's all shared, our attorney sharing from our experience. It doesn't in any way constitute legal counsel or any, so you do with the information you receive as you please. AIM is not liable, or Atty. Uzo is not liable for for any consequences thereof. So still do your proper due diligence with all of that information. With that said, please join me. Welcome Atty. Uzo for an incredible session. Yay.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Nandi. You always make a nice intro. Remember, I'll take some questions. Oh, thanks, Stella, for them. Look at all that love. So, as usual, remember, I can't answer your personal questions just because of privacy and, and also time constraints whereby I can't get into the details of your case. I'm available, though I'm not liable for what you hear here on this forum, but I am available if you want to talk some more. And you can contact me and set up a consultation. That being said, that being so, and in the spirit of this new designation, we're now knowledge partners, and this is now a master class. I guess bearing in mind the whole big class thing is about how to help us settle into the United States, which is our adopted country. So today I'm going to pivot a little, pivot some. Normally, I talk to you about immigration law, but today I'm going to talk to you about personal injury law and immigrants. Why? Actually, before I do that, let me also say that towards the end of my talk, I'll maybe give you a little update on the immigration things going on. But again, like I said, we all know it's been a little depressing, but we must keep our chins up and put our roots down and stand fast, because we've made our choices here and we must stand and defend that choice to be Americans. So that being said, when we moved here to America and we've settled down, sometimes people get injured. And I'm having to do this because I've talked to people lately and something happened. This is not like the usual, what's our country, our example country today? Let's use Nigeria. So this is not your usual Nigerian stuff. Oh, he hit my car, and you come out and shout at the person. And maybe after shouting, you go and repair your own car. that might not quite be it. Sometimes you make sure the other person repairs your car, but if you've been in an accident, you know that for the next day or two, you're going to be really achy, and that's to say the very least. And the truth of it is this: if you've also been in a car accident, you might notice your body is no longer, your back may no longer be working like it used to be. So this is not Nigeria where you have the accident, you get them to repair your car maybe, and then you go on home. You're damaged. You're actually meant to go treat yourself. And if having treated yourself, you are not, somebody is meant to pay your medical bills. I think lately there's been something going on in Nigeria. There's I think one of those, the popular person, rich guy, he has cement trucks all over the place. He recently ran over one of his cement trucks recently ran over another person. And I remember telling somebody, one of my family members in Nigeria, if this is in America, your cement truck, your truck runs over somebody, a person, injures the person dies, you're in big trouble. You're going to pay for it. So that's the thing about injury here in the United States. The law is quite advanced in that way, so that people are careful if about what's done on their premises, what they do, because you don't want to end up being liable, hurting somebody else. They'll take you to court, or they will ask your insurance company to pay. So that's one thing to know for us as immigrants. Number one, you can be liable. On the one hand, you can be liable if you open a business and somebody comes into your business. Let's say you have a shop and there are some wet areas and somebody slips and injures themselves in your business. Yes, you're going to be liable for their injury. On the other hand, let's say you go to somebody else's shop and you slip and fall in their business or apartment complex, they will be liable. So it's something to understand about how injury works. People just don't go around doing things like so in the US here. So in terms of injury, where could a person be injured? You could be injured at work, or it could be injured at home. So I'll go with the workplace. I can speak for the state of Georgia, which is where I live and I practice. Generally, in the United States, there's something called workers' compensation. So if you get injured at your job, doing your job, your employer is liable for that. So let's say you work in a farm, and let's say the tractor rolls over your foot. Because that happened, you're picking something and the tractor kind of injures you. You cannot recover from the personal injury side. There's something called workers' compensation. Some people call it workman's compensation, and that means that the person, your employer, is going to be liable for your medical bills, time you've lost from working, and some of your pay. It's a thing that the laws provide for. It's a state law thing, unlike immigration, which is a federal law thing. So depending on how your state has set itself up, you should, if you're injured on the job, you should be able to recover. If you try to recover and you fail, that is to say they refuse to recover, each state has its own mechanism for appealing that recovery. So you will go through their state board, their workers' comp board, and you see if you can recover. Generally, also, you need to go, there's a way it's set up. So you report the injury to your employer, and they're meant to notify their insurance carrier. And between your employer and their insurance carrier, hey, you'll be compensated. Workers' comp tends to be a little technical. Sometimes they will tell if you lose a hand, there's a set amount for people who have lost a whole hand or maybe a finger. There's a way it goes. It's kind of like mathematical in that way. They set up the recoveries. So depending on what you've recovered, depending on your injury, there's a little, they look at the graph. Okay, she injured the little finger on her right hand. She's right hand dominant. There's a certain amount of recovery you'll make. So if between and then you also have to go to their designated doctor. They have doctors who treat their patients or their employees. So if you have to go to their doctor, and anything that the doctor recommends is what you can recover for. So you can recover for your time off, but the doctor has to give you time off from work. So that in that way, workers' compensation can be simple because there's A, B, and C. You do this, you do this. It happened that sometimes it tends to be technical, but it's there. And that's in Georgia, that's the only way to recover. So this is unlike what we may find from in the places where we're coming from. I don't know that those workers' compensation is that well set up. And it's important because you see somebody, you don't want that situation where you're working and you get injured and nothing comes of it except sorry. Sorry won't put food on your table, okay? And your family, and it won't provide for your family. So that's if you get injured at work. For the rest of us, the vast majority of us, including those who could get injured at work, they get injured off of work in a non-work situation. Well, so you can be compensated for that. However, before you get compensated for that, there's a couple things I'd like to say. Number one is use a lawyer. If you have been injured, use a lawyer. And mind you, the other party, the party that hurt you, their lawyer is not your lawyer. He's not trying to advocate your interests. You're better in your best interest. He's trying to give you something, but he's really more interested in, he's going to protect his own side first. So most people here have insurance over their cars, over their homes. So you know about your auto insurance policy. You have people who work, professionals have malpractice insurance policy. Lawyers do, doctors do, any professional has its own insurance, malpractice carriers. People who have shops, big stores, malls, everybody has a malpractice insurance carrier. And the whole idea is that, remember, on the employer side, on the owner side, you're trying to make sure that just in case someone gets hurt due to something that could be attributed to you, you're going to be able to recover. You're not going to be able to pay yourself. So that's how come you have the insurance policy company who you have been paying a premium, so that if ever you need to pay somebody something for damage, they can step in and pay that person the total amount, or something on that the amount that which you'll not be able to carry. They, being a company, doing other business, they have the money to pay. So if you get injured, for you to be able to recover on the personal side, not at work now, you have to show that you were injured. Could be anything. Could be you broke a leg. In a car accident, like remember the example I just gave, if somebody hits you, that whiplash thing, it's much bandied about, but it's a thing. You're going to feel hurt. Your muscles will tighten. It's not it's not easy to see, but anybody who's had an accident can tell you that they felt that discomfort. So you've been injured. Doesn't matter how much or little is the injury. Doesn't matter if you already, let's say you had a broken hand, you were going to the hospital, and then somebody hit you and your hand broke in a second place. It doesn't matter. The person who injures you takes you as you are. For one thing, so if you come in, your head is a little thinner than your skull is a little thinner than everybody's skull. It doesn't matter. The person has to take you as they found you. And in any case, doesn't matter if you're already injured before. The injury, the damage they've caused you is not helping you feel better. So don't let that be a limiting factor if you've been injured. Remember, what I'm telling you here in essence is, if you've been injured, go and ask, because you really do need to have somebody help you with your treatment. That's the whole idea of that. I guess that's the theme of this thing. And I guess the second theme is, if you have a business, make sure you have your insurance. If you're renting, if you have a home, keep up with your homeowner or rental insurance, just because you never know. Okay, so let's say you've been injured, and it doesn't, and then sometimes there's death. If somebody has died, the dead person clearly can't recover, but their relations, their next of kin, and we're now talking children, wives first, children, parents, siblings. That's the order. First the spouse, then children. If none of those three, then if no spouse, no children, then your parents may recover. And if no parents, if no parents, spouse, or children, your siblings may recover. Any of them can recover. So let's say you are a single man here in the United States. Let's say you've been in a bad accident and you're no more. If you have any children, your children can recover. If you don't have children, your parents can recover. If you don't have parents either, your siblings can recover. So that's the people who can. So not just the accident or the incident, but an injury, but also in the unfortunate event of death, a person can recover. So, and then you have to say that the injury was due to another's fault. Okay. You have to pin it's not, so let's say you just just walk into the road like that. You maybe somebody's been, had a happy Friday evening. You just got paid and you just walk into the road without looking. Can you really call it your fault? There are sometimes some states have some division of fault. And I think in Georgia now, if your fault is more than 50%, you're probably not going to be able to recover. But we're trying to show that the other party injured you, your injury is due to the fault of another party, and that party had a duty to make sure that they took care not to injure you. For instance, you go into a shop to buy things. Once you're inside that shop, the owner of the shop has the duty to make sure that the people who come shopping don't get injured in the shop. So if there's a wet floor and they haven't put a sign that that area of the shop is wet, and you fall down and you injure yourself, yes, sir, the shop owner has a duty to keep you safe, and he has failed in that duty, and he's going to be liable to you. And you that's fallen down and injured yourself in their shop, you have a cause of action, or you are able to sue them and get get compensation for your injury. So like I've told you about if you get injured due to the fault of somebody who owes you a duty to keep you safe, okay? Where can this kind of injuries come from? Remember, I talked about the car accident. Claire, a lot of us know the one of the car accident. You get injured, somebody hit you from behind or from the side or from the front. You have a car, Then there's also medical malpractice. That's a sub area of this injury thing. Well, let's say you go to the doctor. You're trying to get your left leg fixed. Well, let's say you're ill and you need your left leg amputated, and you go to get to the doctor and your right leg gets amputated, not your left leg. That's a cause of action, because now your problems are many. You're going to be able to hobble on one leg. You no longer have two legs to stand on. Forgive the pun. Actually, the pun is intended. Or let's say you go to the doctor. You're going to have surgery, and in the abdomen, he nicks your bladder. You start having other medical problems. That's a cause of action. And even for lawyers, you could have a cause of action against your lawyer. Your lawyer files a suit for you. You pay a lawyer to file a suit for you, and they don't handle that case well. Not handling it well is not that they lost the case. They didn't submit what they needed to submit. They didn't respond to things that needed to be responded. They let a statute of limitation run. What's the statute of limitation? We find them mostly in this personal injury cases. For instance, if you injure yourself in someone's shop, you slip and fall, you have 2 years from the date of the accident to bring a lawsuit. So let's say you took it to the lawyer and the lawyer kind of didn't do anything at all. 2 years is over, you're out of time. That's called professional malpractice. So doctors can do it. You can also have sometimes if in the medical malpractice setting, it could also be the nurses. I'm sorry, the hospital your doctor has treated you, has admitted you to a hospital, given instructions for your care, and the hospital mucks it up somehow. That can be a cause of action against the hospital. Okay. Product liability. You may not know that. So let's say you buy, let's use a microwave oven. You buy a microwave oven, you plug it in, and using it according to instruction, you hit the start button, and boom, it explodes. Something clearly is wrong with that microwave. And let's say it burns down a part of your kitchen. Let's say it kind of splashes something, you get some electrical burns. Yes, sir, you're able to recover. And sometimes, let's say the damage is just contained to the oven itself. Well, that's money you spent buying the oven, and you should be able to recover. At that time, it might be a de minimis amount, but just bear in mind that if a product you've bought causes you injury, you're allowed to sue the manufacturer of that product. And each cause of action, I'm sorry, I know I'm sounding a little technical and legal. However, but each cause of liability has a certain time within which you must sue. Okay. So you have to see if you don't sue within that time, you've totally lost your ability to sue. Of course, there are some exceptions. Let's say something else happened and you just couldn't sue. They may be considered. So I've talked about types of injuries, car accidents, medical or professional malpractice. I'll call it professional because sometimes you can see a lawyer, sometimes it can be a doctor. Anybody who is a professional, your accountant, there's some kind of anytime they don't do their job well and you get hurt, you lose something over that, there's liability that attached to it. We talked about the slip and fall in premises. They call it premises liability. That's the big name for that one. If you slip and fall, and even I've had a case of drowning. Somebody went to swim in a pool and they didn't come out alive. They died in the pool. There may be, you can sue the person who, the owners of the pool. 2 seconds, please. I'm going to take care of this thing. I'm sort of on call somewhere. Okay, so let's say you're in your apartment complex's pool, and unfortunately somebody is swimming and the person goes in the pool, doesn't come out. Let's say the person wasn't drunk. The owner of the pool is going to be liable. Indeed, here in, for instance, everybody who owns a pool, every pool is meant to have a fencing, so that people can just get into the area willy-nilly. So if it's not fenced, and another cost may be that the pool is not marked. The depths of the pool are not marked. There's this 3-foot area, there's the 4-foot area, so that you know according to your ability where not to go. If you know you're not a good swimmer and you go in the 3-foot, in the 7-foot area, well, it may not necessarily be the pool area, the owner's fault. But if they did not mark it out, if they did not enclose the fence like they should, then they're possibly liable to you for any injury or death that results. And also, mind you, in a lot of these liabilities, accidents could result in death. Medical malpractice can result in death. It's not very usual that attorney or let's say accountant liability results in death. It may result in a lot of loss of money. Product liability can result in death. A slip and fall can result in death. So when that happens, if the accident has happened to you, your own person, you can recover. If you have a spouse, and there's also a lot of time loss of consortium. That means you are not able to do whatever husbands or wives do for their husbands and wives. Okay, so that's your spouse will also have a cause of action against the party. So So if you've been in an accident, like so, what should you do? Remember in the beginning I said, get a lawyer. Most lawyers, no, for both workers' comp and injury, regular personal injury, most lawyers would work on a contingency basis. That is to say, they will not, you won't pay a legal fee to them unless and until you recover. So that thing that where you hear them say, oh no, they don't recover unless you recover, that's really not a novelty. Most of that, I think there are some states that have that as a law. They will only recover when you recover, and they will take a percentage off of it, of your recovery for their efforts. Some lawyers may ask you to front your legal bills, some of your legal, like the cost of suing and all that. Some lawyers may eat it all up, paid by them. But your lawyer has fronted the cost of going to get filing fees and all that for you. If you make a recovery, they will take the costs of that out of the recovery. So bear that in mind. But most of them, almost every lawyer I know who does personal injury will ask you to come in for a free consultation. And if you have a free consultation, you should take it up, because that's good to know what are your rights. Because not all the time you may have, you may be injured, but you may not, the other person may not be liable. They will help you identify your correct defendant. That's the person, in legal terms, that's the person you want to sue, that's the person you want to recover from. They'll help you recover from the correct party. Because it can be funny. Say somebody stole it and hit you while driving a stolen car. You see, it's not easy to recover from the car owner because it was out of his control. Now there's something called uninsured motorist if you have an auto policy, so that if somebody hits you but you're not able to pick the person, you're not able to zero in on the person who hit you, you possibly will be able to cover from your own insurance if you have that uninsured motorist coverage. And there's some but these are who should you be suing is something that a lawyer can help you decide, because sometimes it's not that close, not saying that clear. Also, the lawyer will help you tell for sure if that person or the person who injured you owes you a duty of care. So let's go back to this example I just gave. If the person who injured you didn't really cause not his fault, so my car hit you, but someone stole my car using it, doing the nefarious thing, I'm really not, you cannot sue me, the car owner. Yes, it's my car, but I did not authorize that use of it. Another different thing is, okay, so let's say the car is in my name, but my child took it and drove it and hit. It is very possible that you can rope my insurance in, because there's something called the family purpose doctrine. You can say, well, your child was driving your car because for whatever reason that is to your benefit, or you let that child drive your car. So that's a place where I may not be able to get off. Well, he took the car from me. It wasn't me driving the car. So it's really, so you have to know your lawyer will help you assess if you have a good claim. If you have a defendant who you should be going after exactly. Your lawyer will also help you figure out if it's even worth it to go after the person. Okay, let's say you hit me, and and when I say worth it, it's like the money, in terms of money. You hit me, I'm a poor man, I don't have insurance, and I don't have anything. You hit me, I'm more like my car hit you. My 1991 some kind of janky car has hit you. I don't have any money. I might not even be authorized to drive. Are you going to get anything out of me? Not really, because even if you shook me or turned me upside down and shook me, you might not make some money, get anything out of me. I may not even have insurance. Some people who are in that situation, they are just out there driving. They really shouldn't be. In that case, your lawyer will help you find out, is there anybody else who we can recover from? They may tell you, well, let's see your own insurance policy. Remember the uninsured motorist or underinsured motorist. They may be able to tell you, okay, well, the person who hit you, yeah, he doesn't have it. Or sometimes he has his own policy. He has a policy, but his policy will not cover your injury because some people get really badly injured. You can go against your own carrier to collect that money, to get a payment to cover your injury and such. And also sometimes, well, it was the child who hit you. Well, they can go at any other policy. A lawyer will basically tell you, they can direct you to the person who can pay, who has deep pockets. Because there's no need having somebody who injured you, it was his fault. But if he doesn't have anything to pay, he doesn't have anything to pay. It was because remember, the whole idea of the lawsuit of your claim is that you're trying to use money to compensate for, to help you through your accident. You may have injured yourself, not being able to work, and just things like so. Also, your lawyer will, of course, once you hire, so if a person goes for consultation, for that initial consultation, you will come out with a lot of information that will help you determine what to do next and how to do it, what you can do, what can be done. If the lawyer tells you, okay, I can help you, the lawyer will possibly now start helping you through collecting the whole process. Because it's not just a question of, well, you hit me, but now you give me money. Thing is, how much money should you give me? I'm asking you to give me a total of $10 for my injury. What should be considered? Okay, so the lawyer, in broad terms, the lawyer will help you put everything together and approach maybe the insurance company or your defendant. And let's say Mr. Dangote himself is going to pay, you can meet Mr. Dangote himself, or you can meet Mr. Elon Musk himself. Even if he didn't have insurance, you can meet him personally. He'll be able to pay you. So how does it work? They put together a package of see what happened, see what you did to my client, see my client's injury, and this what it is worth in terms of money. And submit it. Sometimes just by oral negotiation, they're able to arrive at a settlement. But sometimes you have a defendant who is not willing to settle or who doesn't want to give you. It's usually they don't want to give as much as a claim, and you end up going to court. So a lawyer knows the lawyer will now file action on your behalf. Also knowing that you only have you who's been injured, you only have a certain amount of time to sue, to bring that legal action. The lawyer will consider what kind of things go into your medical bill, into your claim. Well, there's the pain and suffering, the pain which I suffered from that broken bone, from the accident. I will come factor it in from just seeing, sometimes the factor in, okay, was just, you didn't sustain any physical injury. That's okay. What you hear, you may hear called soft tissue injury. That's okay. It's injury. If you're hurting, and that's injury. You weren't hurting, and you wouldn't have been hurting if you had not had that accident. So yes, sometimes if your insurance an insurance company may want to play tricks on you. Well, maybe let me rephrase myself. They want to argue that there's really no injury on you. We don't see any injury. You didn't get cut. Well, that's what's called soft tissue injury, and you can still recover, but you have to manage your expectations in that regard. Expect a good pushback from them. If you can show cuts, bruises, broken bones, it's usually easy to point at your pain and suffering. Your medical bills too is a good the amount of medical bills you have amassed. It's a good indicator of your pain and suffering of your injury. So let's say okay, we're not seeing any obvious injury, but let's say you're claiming pain and suffering, my back hurt, my neck hurts. The treatment you've received can show that, yes, you pulled that muscle was really badly pulled. So the amount your medical bills you've amassed in diagnosing and treating yourself is the indicator of your injury, and they like to the insurance companies will look at it too. They will consider, did you lose time off work? Did you lose time off school? They will also consider if in the future, are you permanently damaged from this accident? Because there are some accidents, a person loses a leg. That's going to affect their lifestyle forever. I've seen accidents where people just get, they become unable to move a part of paraplegics, maybe quadriplegic or just fully paraplegic. That's not being able to move anymore. That's clearly a lifestyle effect, and they're going to count at that point in time. They're going to look at how old you are, what you do for a living, but you can cover your future life thing, the future, we call it lifestyle or life changes, alterations through that. And then remember, there's also the damage. Let's say somebody accident damaged your property. Your car was damaged. It's different from you where you broke a bone. So you're entitled to have your car replaced at the value of the car at that time. That one is your lawyer also knows how to help you work it out. So just going to see a lawyer, using a lawyer help, because there's other things that need to be evaluated and considered, all the things that need to be considered and evaluated in order to help you achieve, get a good settlement claim. And if it turns out you're going to be in court over this injury, well, I think it's always better to go with to use a lawyer than to attempt to be your own lawyer. In case the lawyers have a saying that a lawyer who is trying to represent themselves has a fool for a client. And it might be the very same thing with the person, anybody who is trying to be their own lawyer, your client might actually be a fool. Okay, so I think that's really what it is about injuries and all that. So your lawyer will help you ensure that your claims are all marshaled and addressed, and help you eventually when that payment is made. It's most likely going to your lawyer. He'll be the one that gets the settlement check, and they'll work with you to help you pay off the people who treated you, pay off the lawyer, and of course settle the lawyer too, and then any expensive they have incurred in doing your case, and you get what you get. So that's one of the nice things of America, one of the nice things about America, our adopted country. Questions?
Yes, I have one. I've been thinking about this. So what about people who actually now take advantage of the system, or who try to gimmick this, maybe fake a fall in your place of business and try to get something out of you? Or we've seen people would, exaggerate accidents, maybe they didn't really get hit, but they try to, like, how does that play if you're on the other side and somebody's trying to clearly exploit and get,
Yeah.
But
that's the nice thing too. That's the nice thing too, is that, well, the person who in the law, the person who brings a claim is the person that must prove that they have a claim. Let's say somebody comes into your shop, and let's say all of a sudden I fell down and I'm injured in your shop. A number of things. Maybe guess as well, show me your injury. Did you go to the doctor? If you haven't gone to the doctor, if you didn't go to the ER, if you didn't do anything, it looks like there's a very good chance that you are not injured. And mind you, remember, when we're doing civil cases, that's to say it's not a criminal case, it's a civil case, which a personal injury case is one of those. The standard is 51%, right? It is more likely than not that you caused this accident. The person is not trying to show that. So you have to show. So if you tell me you injured me, show me your injury is the first thing. And then the second thing, on the part of the employer, of the, let's say somebody like we're dealing with the premises liability thing. Someone said they came in your shop, they got injured. Number one thing, they're going to be showing you the injury. Number two thing, you're going to be showing, but you shouldn't have been injured. So on your side, you could be defending yourself, saying, well, over there where you sit, I was injured, where you had the fall. Yes, it was wet, but see, there was a sign around it showing it was wet. So let's say you have a shop. You've put the wet sign over there, and the person comes in and is trying to reach over, still go through that wet sign to go and get something off the rack. It's not your fault anymore. Do you see why? Because you showed, yes, owe them a duty to keep them safe in your shop, but you also, when an unsafe condition was created, you indicated it. You kind of cordoned off that place, put wet floor signs over there, and the person saw the wet floor signs and still went over trying to reach and get something. It's no longer fault. See? And how do you even show that? Well, maybe you can show that you had a camera at the place in that area of your shop. And this is a recording of what happened. Okay, let's say you had the signs, and the person might even have come in a little happy they're coming from a party. Oh, let's just get something. They're a little tipsy, and they ignored the sign. At this point, it's not your fault anymore. So you can't defend yourself. It's not going to be just you out there on the open. And mind you, as a shop owner, you possibly have you do have your own insurance. So a lot of times, your insurer will be the one to arrange legal representation for you. We have lawyers who represent clients who've been injured. There's also lawyers whose practice is to represent defendants. So a lot of them work with the insurance companies, and when something has happened like this, your insurance company will assign you a lawyer who will represent you and defend you. So you see that in the shops. Lawyers have their own malpractice carriers. So supposing in my office, a client is coming against me, I will call my malpractice carrier and tell him, see what happened. And they will nominate a lawyer to represent me. And of course, I've been paying my premiums. It really shouldn't cost me. They will pay for it. Of course, what about staged auto accidents? So you hit me, you hit. Somehow, in cases like that, there's always some kind of investigation. If it like something funny is going on, there's going to be an investigation. Most states have an insurance department, which is a state level thing, a state level position. There's in Georgia, we have the Georgia Insurance Commissioner. If they investigate fraudulent things like that, where people set up accidents, and people who do that are subject to good penalty. Now that I've mentioned Georgia Insurance Commissioner, let's say you are trying to negotiate with any insurance agents, and they are giving you the runaround and you're clear. You actually are able to call up the Georgia Insurance Commissioner, your state insurance commissioner, and report the insurance company to them. Insurance companies don't like to be reported. So if you report, the state can actually step in and see what's going on. Ask them, hey, what's going on? Why are you rejecting this claim? Why are you not paying on time? And so it will help moderate, and you might be lucky they can speak. It's really them speaking up on your behalf, and that issue can be resolved. So always bear that in mind. You have the ability to report to your insurance commissioner.
Right, and thank you, Attorney. We have another question from Wanjuru. She's asking, if someone wants to settle by paying you cash for your injury, does that impact any future legal claims?
Possibly, yes. Especially somebody who's to want to give you cash. And the thing about it is, have you considered all that could come? Any two parties can settle anyway. At that point where you hit my car, You can tell me, okay, I'm going to fix your car and I'm going to give you $50 in addition. If you find it's fine, it's fine by you, that's fine. And get that thing, both on the person, the hitter and the hittee, please written down. All those things, you just said it. It's not, get the cash. If the person is offering you cash to fix your car, the cash in hand. If you're offering somebody cash to fix their car, I'll pay you. Get something written down showing this is exactly what I said I would do, so that the person doesn't come back. Because somebody can take your cash and still come back and tell you, well, I didn't get anything from you. Okay, so we're talking on two sides from it. So if somebody's going to give you cash, offers you cash, if you feel that's fine, take it. But if you take, just know that you've accepted liability. I'm sorry, you've accepted payment. If you go back trying to sue the person, it's really bad faith. Okay, and then on the other hand, and if somebody says they're going to pay you, I think you should get it in return. If you're going to pay somebody, if you're now the one offering to pay the person, get them to release you from future liability, because you've accepted that as complete payment for whatever happened as a result of that incident, and you get a liability release. Indeed, when you talk with a lawyer, if a lawyer helps you negotiate with your defendants, the person who has injured you, the whole thing is by giving you so amount of money, you are releasing, that takes care of this claim. We're going to pay you $10 because our person hit your car. We're going to pay you $10 because you fell down in a shop. There'll be a written release of liability. So you doing it by yourselves between the parties without involving lawyers and insurance companies, that's valid. I guess that's the answer to that question, Wanjiru, and that's valid too. Only make sure you have something in writing.
Yes, thank you, Uzo. Yeah, that did answer the question. And the example about the car is what was making me think about it, because that had happened to me twice. You know what I mean? Like somebody didn't want their insurance to be impacted by me putting in a claim for insurance. So they offered to pay cash, right? But it was a small amount. But I think for personal injury, it was making me think about that and how we can be pressurized, right, by the business, let's say, to pay cash. And then how do we feel? Yeah. And to be able to fight that, right? No, I want to go the legal route. I don't want the cash.
Yeah, if you don't want the route, you can tell them, hold on, let me know exactly what my damage before I accept from you. Someone tells you, I'm going to give you $10 for this accident. You can tell the person, well, $10 will pay for the car, but I'd like to go to the ER and, get a look at myself at least and see if I have any damage, because you're entitled to, you can't accept settlement for something you really don't know you had. The damage you didn't know you had. Okay, so that's a good. Can you imagine someone tells you, oh, well, I'm going to give you $10. I just hit your bumper a little, you take it. But somebody, you don't know that in the accident actually caused, in the evening, the person is dead. They were bleeding it. They didn't know. It's as a result of that accident. But, well, it looks like the person accepted $10. So go ahead, get a good evaluation before you accept. If you choose to accept, that's not wrong. It's, eventually it's money going to get anyways. If you lost a limb in that accident, no, but you're not going to get you're not going to get another limb, your real limb, so to speak. Okay, I think any more questions? And please, if you've been in an accident, anything. You know that much. Everybody knows that much. If you hit somebody, don't say anything until you talk to the lawyer. Someone hits you, are you okay? Let me know. The lawyers have the joke of, how are you feeling? So no, let me talk to my lawyer. But whatever you say at the accident scene will be taken into consideration. It will show up eventually if you have a case. Because they'll be, well, at the accident scene, you said you weren't feeling bad. So you're very guarded about what you say to the party who has injured you.
I have one more question, but this one for workplace Because I know it's dicey when people get injured at work and they still work for that employer. I guess what's the best approach, with that where you're not trying to lose your job, but there's this, I know companies might try to protect
Yeah, they
themselves.
become unfriendly.
Yeah.
Well, your right is your right. And if you know you're right, you go in there boldly. If they are making the workplace uncomfortable for you over that, that's a whole new course of action against them. So that's something you should bear in mind. It starts looking like creating toxic work environment. They're looking at an EEOC, Employment Opportunity Commission claim in addition. So, but humans are humans. We're going to do, you're doing that workout, they're giving the run around, that they're trying acting unhappy because you had the guts to go and make a claim. It's something, the way you fight it with your eyes open and, be smart about it, be bold, insist on your rights. And if you get terminated out because of that, well, I would say that's a different course of action too. Sometimes there's a criminal situation, mind you too, that could result in a civil situation. For instance, someone, let's say, let's use the OJ case, okay? For instance, it's out there. He was executed criminally. You shot this woman, you murdered her. Somehow, on the criminal side, they were not able to get a conviction to say that definitively he committed a crime by ending the life of this woman. Yet on the civil side, the families were able to claim against, some of them claimed that went against OJ. Remember, you caused the wrongful death, you wrongfully caused the death of our daughter. So you can, even when a criminal thing has happened, you can also get a civil remedy from it. So let's say but in that case, make sure you have somebody. The criminals, a lot of these criminals they may not be of the rich people variety, but let's say Mr. Name any rich man. So you were talking with him and, oh, why are you going to talk to me like that? Boom, 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 you get shot. It's a crime. But there's also civil liability for injuring you or even ending the person's life. Do you understand? And I remember I talked about who can recover. The person who was injured can recover, or certain family members can recover if the person is not alive. And even where the person is alive, if a spouse, that spouse has a claim against you for depriving your spouse, depriving them of what's consortium? Consortium is whatever I put in the bedroom, and I think also all the help that he gives you and comfort, that all the help, comfort, and everything that your spouse gives you, you've lost it. And sometimes you find you're now the one giving care to your husband, your spouse. So you're entitled to some kind of recovery. And even let's say your spouse unfortunately passes from an accident, and let's say he didn't die immediately. He died, he was alive for about 2, 3, 4 hours, then he died. You have a claim for their pain, suffering for those 3 hours. It's really something, worth, if something like this should happen, as you're crying, as you're unhappy, be sure to talk to a lawyer so that you can get your rights addressed. And this is one of the benefits, like I said, of being in America. Our country will make sure some get taken care of. And then of course, I can't finish. I have to talk about, and how do I know all those things? Well, because number one, I went to school here, and everybody, if we're studying law in the US here, and I think in other common law countries too, you will be taught, there's a course, a whole year's course on civil liability for people. They will tell the cases. There's something about, let's say you have a pool, yeah, it's just interesting. There's something about if kids are injured, where kids are injured, did you keep that place, make it attractive? Because kids, they're always looking like they're trying to harm themselves. They're going to go, something is shiny, they're going to try and look at it. So it's interesting. They teach you, we're all taught that in law school. And secondly, myself, I actually, before I started doing only immigration alone, I used to do injury, but actually now Just that things are getting better. I'm swinging back to doing some of those injury cases too. But let's talk about immigration too, because I know that could be the topic of the moment, which is going to be what's new. My approach to what's going on in the country is not to be getting along. There's other new thing going on that looks more strict. The whole gear is all geared at restrictive immigration policies. Just recently, they said that they made it official. They're not going to renew Venezuela's TPS designation. We've heard that from people outside the US. Oh, they said in Nigeria, they said they're calling in people and canceling their visas, their long-term visas. It's already given them. Now they say if you go for an interview, any immigration interview somewhere, they're going to check your social media. Myself, I've seen in the past few months back, we go for a regular husband and wife interview. They separate them immediately. That is to say, they interview the parties separately. My approach to that is not to keep getting worried. It's to dig in. My approach would be to dig in and fight for the long term. And that's how I've been doing it. Otherwise, I guess I would lose my sanity. And by doing it like this, I think I tend to promote more confidence for my clients. So what I would say is this: in terms of immigration, let's not just keep getting very excited about the little things that happen. For one thing, the new immigration policy things being done, some of them are just policy changes. So that means when the administration changes, if an administration changes, their policy will change, and the policy can be easily reversed just by the stroke of a pen. Again, a lot of things are being done by executive action. That's the president just orders it to be done. Number one, a lot of immigration law really should be regulated by Congress via laws. So if it's just done, anything that some of the things being done by executive action are going to get a legal challenge. People will challenge it in court. You're not doing it right. The president shouldn't be able to order this. Only Congress should order it. So this is wrong. That's one way to challenge it. And another thing is that executive actions only last with the person who did the order. So let's say Mr. Trump fast forward to think another 3.5 years and his time is up, those orders go with him, except if an incoming president decides to keep them. But they'll be changed. So those are the two things that give me some hope. Beyond that, if you get married, I'm actually of the opinion that this is actually the time for us to dig in. We don't run away scared. We dig in. If you get married, file. If you're due to naturalize, apply to naturalize. The only thing your lawyer does for you is to make sure you're super prepared. Making sure, for me now, it's making sure I've looked at your old immigration record file. Let's see what you said before, so that we'll know be sure it's still, we're saying we don't go and make a slip. For me, again, it's preparing my clients for their interviews. Like now, it used to be, actually, my regular practice was that once I get an interview notice for my clients for their, let's say, green card interview, I have a time that I call them in and I prepare them. We spend about an hour or so preparing. This is what you expect, and I'll go over the questions. Today, I'm doing that with even more caution. I never went to an interview without preparing my clients. Today, I'm still doing that, but I'm doing that with more caution. And then for me as a lawyer, just basically fighting more. I decided, okay, I'm going to help people who are detained. If you can make bond, make bond. So I just lawyers to help up. I don't believe in just folding up and going home. There might be a time to know that it's better to take 2 steps backwards before you take a step forward. But there's also a time to stand and fight. So that's what I've been doing. So really, whatever we see, we will take it like that and fight to get it overturned. And also, time is the great resolver of things. This too shall pass, is a saying. And I guess I should ask you, I know it was a bit of a pivot doing in personal injury. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if there's any more type of legal topics you'd like me to speak about, if you let Nnamdi know, I will speak about it. I'm thinking next time I will talk about businesses and immigrants. Aha. And I wanted to tell you this too. I've had a case where I represented somebody. He didn't have his papers, an undocumented person who had been hit by a big truck or something. And the insurance company came with this, oh, well, he can't recover. He's not a green card. He doesn't have status. And I told him that doesn't matter. They wanted to play that trick. And we ended up, I stood up firm and told them, no, he's injured. There's no law that says if you're injured, you cannot. In matter of fact, I wanted to make a constitutional matter of it. He's in the US, he's subject to US jurisdiction. Had he been the one that let's say criminal, that person criminally attacked another person, he would be subject to US law. So if he's injured, he's still subject to US law. He can benefit, and you cannot stop them from benefiting, threaten them to pay them less or not pay them at all because they are US citizens. They're not US citizens. They're here. They're not documented. So that's something to know. Just because you don't quite have your papers doesn't mean that if you're injured, you shouldn't report. You should still have those rights. Clearly, yes, it may expose you. I've heard about some nasty people. They'll make a report, but I'll collect my money still. Deport me or not, I'll get my lawyer here who would keep fighting. Because even if the person does get deported, the fact is the injury happened. If you send that client home, I'll still be here fighting to get the money you owe them because you injured them. And maybe even now it's going to be worse because you may have put them in a place where they're going to be in terms of going to be in a worse situation in terms of their injury. So remember that, please. So tell everybody about it. And then maybe next time or so, some other time, I'll talk about how we should organize our businesses, things we should be doing with our businesses here, and so we can settle down better. Because I think most of us end up working for ourselves. And eventually, too, I'll start talking to you about business immigration, because there's a whole side of immigration that's not just personal, and a lot of us could benefit from it. So I'll go in depth into the e-visas, the L visas, the EB1s, self-petitions, and the EB2s with the national interest waivers. I'll also eventually talk about some of the humanitarian ones. There's a T visa for trafficking victims. And there's also the VAWA, which we know for abused spouses, parents, or children. So eventually, these are just telling you, I think it's going to be nice eventually. But if there's anything you'd like, any area of the law you'd like me to talk to you about, let me know. Heaven forbid that any lawyer should know everything, but I can do my research because that's really what's part of the training. So I can do my research and present something to you. So, we're over time.
It's okay. We enjoyed we enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Attorney, for sharing from your wealth of experience. So like we have heard, please, if you have anything you want to hear, sure, why not? It's a blank check. We don't always get this is borderline free consultation almost. So let us know, and then we'll try to send all of that feedback to our attorney's table. Please, a few quick announcements, AIM related. I've put a bunch of links in the chat. First of all, if you have any questions for our attorney, she can be found on Circle. She's on LinkedIn. Let us know and we'll connect you to her. If you have any questions, you want to continue conversations, or there's personal things you want to have a conversation with her about, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll put you in touch with attorney. Again, Circle is the best place to start from, but you can also reach out to myself or Stella, and we'll get you in touch with our attorney so you can get your questions answered directly, your personal ones addressed directly. A few quick things coming up. October 25th, and this is a very good, lead into that. October 25th, please mark your calendars. It is going to be our first ever advocacy conference, policy and advocacy conference. And again, it's about still in this lane of knowing our rights and advocating for ourselves and getting involved in policy and politics and all of these things. Elections have consequences. We can speak to that. Policy has consequences. Decisions that affect us from our school boards and our council and all of those things. We need to start getting involved and invested in these things. And the first step towards that is being a part of the conference on October 25th. So please go and register for that. We're excited about that. We're excited about really how it's going to turn out. So register. There's options to. It's a free event, but if you're led to donate as well, you get that option as you register. If you want to donate to AIM, there's a link to donate as well. We are powered by volunteers. Every knowledge partner, every leader, everybody doing something within AIM is doing it on a volunteer basis. And so whether it's with events, with social media, whatever, being a knowledge partner, whichever way you want to be a part of what we're doing, please fill out the form and we'll get you plugged in. We need everyone to chip in one way or the other. Where will it be located? It's going to be here in Atlanta, but it's going to be a hybrid event. So it's in person here in Atlanta for those of us who are in person. But for anyone outside of Atlanta, you'll be able to join us online. So go ahead and register, and then you get more information. We'll be feeding the information gradually as we get closer to the event. All right, that is all I have. Please, if you're not in Circle, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and join Circle. And yes, please, if you're in our WhatsApp group, we posted, we have a conference, not a conference, well, it's a conference, African. We're a community partner for Amplify Africa. They have their annual events coming up, African. It's in September. It's this month, 18th to 20th. So we're representing there. So we have some free tickets if you want to be a part of that. The link to get signed up, it's inside of our WhatsApp group. I shared that yesterday. It's also on Circle as well. So go and grab one of those 25 free tickets. And yeah, come one of the days and be a part of it. I'll be one of the mentors at the event. So you can come and find me at my table and say hello if you haven't met me in person before. But yeah, that's happening as well. We're trying to make sure we're collaborating with other groups who are aligned with what we're doing. In the end, we can reach more to people together. So more announcements will be coming about our 2026 plans, but that's not for today. But let me let you go. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks again, Attorney.